For the past couple of weeks, I have been checking Reddit, Discord, and YouTube for more information about what's next for the Cycle Frontier. Hi, this is Gentle Ben. Hope you guys are doing well. The announced Dev Talk released today on YouTube has 3 parts labeled 1. Too punishing/unfair, 2. Stability/performance, and 3. Onboarding/user experience issues. The video does not provide an official release date, but we should go over what's in the dev update. The first issue, described as too punishing unfair, is directly connected to cheaters in the game, according to executive producer Jonathan Lindsay, aka Rick Deckard. Quote, "We knew that cheaters, would be an issue in a free-to-play game," pointing out that cheaters are always a part of online multiplayer games, and there is an ongoing process for detection via BattleEye and tools for players and community managers to report and mitigate cheaters in the game, so they can make it as hard as possible for people to cheat. The second part of this topic is balancing gear. Jonathan refers to this as the gear power disparity. And mathematically, they are going to make changes to stats based on a logarithm rather than a linear progression, meaning that the difference in power levels between gray and green is greater than purple to pink. Basically, the idea of diminishing overall power as you move up the levels of gear. The third part of this topic is solo versus squads. I myself, like many other players, appreciate a challenge, but it is nearly impossible to take on duos or trios with gray or green level gear in my anecdotal experience in the closed beta. Jonathan states solos, duos, and trios together in the same match is the right decision because it creates those tense moments and general uncertainty of what can happen next. Exciting, right? While it isn't referred to as MMR, Jonathan calls for creating buckets of types of matches, which appears to be an ongoing challenge to determine how to make playing solo more fair. Spawn killing was an issue they didn't foresee, considering slower hard drives, or in general players would be visible, or you could see someone's drop pod landing before that player was fully loaded into the game, and this whoopsie has been fixed. Whoopsie being a synonym for bug. Jonathan also mentions player density being an issue in regards to spawn killing, meaning players spawning into the game would end up in an area of the map too populated with existing players, which made for spawn rushing or camping. An extremely frustrating situation I experienced a few times myself during the beta. Also, he mentions how well can new players handle the PvP, but more specifically the PvE. All the alien monster types can be formidable, but in some instances it may seem like they will insta-lock and quickly attack while outpacing your movements. So it seems some adjustments and maybe an added investigation phase will be a part of the AI, and perhaps allowing sneaking around the monsters a valid tactic, and making AI behavior more transparent. Moving on to the second topic, stability and performance. At first, there were issues with handling the 16,000 concurrent players, and so efforts have been made to properly support the influx of that player load without hopefully causing massive queues to join a server or even cause network disconnection. The biggest issue with a network disconnection is you would be booted from a game and lose your progress. I would say in my experience playing that collecting certain rare or hard to find items or materials for specific missions could take over an hour to complete. Losing progress, whether it be after an hour or even 10 minutes, can be enough to stop players from logging back in. Along the lines of keeping new players invested in the cycle is the performance or overall optimization of the game's engine. Jonathan states the worst offenders have been identified in regards to performance and are being worked on. While John is being rather vague, I think it goes without saying that a free-to-play game shouldn't require major hardware upgrades to run, especially when part of the success of a free-to-play game is that it's accessible across multiple platforms and PC builds. My experience during the beta was enjoyable in regards to the overall performance of the game. While I have an older system, my GPU and CPU are capable of 1080p and 60 FPS no matter the current game title. So games that are considered well optimized tend to reach well above 60 FPS on my system. So if the cycle can run on a toaster, then they're going to reach many more players. The last topic covered is onboarding and user experience issues. We're talking about how new players handle the game and what type of learning curve is to be expected. This means new players are not going to be on servers with the highest tier players. And hopefully as a result, new players won't be overly punished and given time to learn the mechanics of the game. Jonathan also points out that many players didn't realize or even at least attempt to sell their found items. And so based on the data collected from the beta, It's obvious that the onboarding or tutorial should identify the self feature, and I'm assuming other points of onboarding will continue to grow during the development. Jonathan states that the broken friends list has been fixed, and that joining a team with your friends should be much easier at launch. So when is the game going to launch? I can't spill the beans yet, says Jonathan, meaning they don't want to say when the game is releasing. But the general idea is it should be soon, and they're really far along in the development of the game. Ultimately, 𝐂𝐥𝐞 wants to be happy with the state of the game and not rush things out the door, which is great to hear, and well, it appears Jonathan Lindsay, the executive producer, is smiling and comes off rather genuine in this dev update. So let me know if you're excited for the release of the Cycle Frontier. Are you happy with your experience during the second closed beta? And what changes do you think are sorely needed for the release of the game? Thanks for watching, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.